Hello and welcome to the WTF Sunderland podcast review show as we pick the bones out of a disappointing defeat away to Fulham. I'm joined here, first of all, Ian Dobson, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. Full of cold, but otherwise, all right. Football's football, innit? Can't make it ruin my weekend, even though I really want it to. So,
Yeah, it was today. I think there's just a bit of a sickener because of I felt like we had such a high after the Arsenal game and that international break, and then today it's just a bit of a sickener more than anything. Pete, back on the British Isles are here. How you doing?
I'm very well, Ross. Ross, who is hosting the day. You didn't introduce yourself at the
I
top there.
always forget that I'm hosting. Graham, by the way, I have to say, is having a lovely holiday with his fiancée. So enjoy, Graham and Ashley. And they've left us idiots to host. So if it's
Yes,
crap, I'm so sorry. If it's
the
good,
lunat the
brilliant.
lunatics have taken over the asylum. I'm all right, mate. Yes, back in Sunderland. I was at the Football Content Awards representing us in the week. Sadly, we didn't win, but it's nice to be nominated. Thanks for everybody who voted and all of the listeners who've chipped in there. We did our best, but we didn't get out. Maybe next year. But yeah, I'm all right, mate. Not too bad, apart from the football today.
Yeah, so we might as well get into it. Again, a 1-0 defeat away from home to a side that's probably going to be safe, if we're being honest. You look at their home record, I think out of all the points they've made, they've only made 1 point away, which shows how strong and dominant they are at home. But for me, and I'm guessing from what we see here and on a lot of social media and the just that overall chat amongst ourselves, we just didn't seem at it today, did we? From the off, it just felt a bit off from me. The five at the back's a big talking point. You know, we've played it, we've got results, but was it just a game too far? Ian, what's your overall feeling? Have I covered a lot of it?
yeah, pretty much, mate. I think we were just a bit too conservative. I think the Man United game away when we've tried to be a little bit more expansive early doors has just scared the shit out of Lebris, and he doesn't think that's the way we can play away from home. I mean, Fulham are solid away from home, but as I think Sophie said in the chat earlier, like have a go a bit. We just didn't seem like we wanted to do anything with it. Really, we just had the ball and didn't have. There was no intent about the play. It was just slow. Better in the second half. Lefay got on the ball a lot more and was a lot better. We were a lot better, but I just think it was just one of those days.
You kind of felt it was coming, didn't you? Their goal, because I know we were talking throughout it, but it just felt like it don't know. It just had this awful feeling that they're just going to get more of these chances because let's be honest, Roos had saved quite a few the first half. Maybe not as much second half, but they put a couple wide. But I did feel like they're still going to get one more chance. Whereas I don't know, just the negativity in me because I am quite a pessimist. I never really felt for the first time this season that we were going to get another chance. Whereas a lot of the games, I've always felt we've been in it attacking wise. Yet this game, it just didn't seem to click, did it?
No, there was times where there was a ball open at one point when Talby had it out to Lefay, who was in acres of space on the left, and we just didn't see the pass. And I mentioned it earlier on in the season, and I know Dave's touched on it as well when we've spoken in the past. Is if we're not getting goals, we'll have the knackers to sort of go out and get somebody in January if we need to. But I just think that we don't look that threatening, and it's a bit of a concern, especially away from home. It's just we're not never because we've scored goals away from home, but there's times where in massive patches in games where we have loads of the ball but get 30 yards from their goal and it just doesn't look like we know what we want to actually do, what the plan is. So it's definitely a bit of a concern of mine, but we're 12 games into our Premier League sort of journey and they're 5 seasons into it. So if someone said they'd get a 1-0 win with 10 minutes to go at the start of the season, you'd probably go, it's probably about right. But after the start we've had, it's just disappointing we didn't do a bit more.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's Reggie has basically said we didn't impose ourselves on the team, and Humes came out and did an interview with BBC Newcastle, and he said he was angry and disappointed at the way it went. So I think there is a lot of frustration within the team that whatever the plan was, it clearly didn't come off today. Whether that's just poor performance on our side, Fulham to be credited, I think that's the most I've seen our midfield dominated this season. Which, when you look at the performances of Xhaka Siddiqui, but again, we're relying on the same two central midfielders who've both played 90 minutes each time on a Saturday, Tuesday. So it does become a bit of a concern when Diarra would have been so vital for today. I think if you could have that extra man in the middle with the legs, and I think since Diarra's gone out, that's where the confidence gone a bit from Reggie about the back away from home, because we were quite confident playing that at Palace. Even when we got beat up after Burnley, he still went with Diarra in there. And I think other than that, well, I think we did for Forest a bit. To be fair, we went forward about then. But since then, you are right. It is a bit funny away from home. I don't mind it against the likes of Chelsea, your Arsenals, but today I thought maybe it was time to go back to the four. But again, it's all hindsight. If we'd won 1-0, we would have been saying, "Oh, genius for keeping it." It's them small margins, isn't it? So, Pete, we mentioned it a lot, but the goal we conceded, it was soft, wasn't it? It was one of them where I think if Ballard just goes and attacks it rather than concentrating on Jimenez, he probably clears it.
Two players that have been spectacular for us this season, and I think have really got massive futures in football. And ultimately, I think they're really at fault for this game. I think Hume has a chance to get across on the guy that gets the lad who puts the ball in. He should have done better there. He might not have been able to, get the tackle in, but even if he closes that angle down a bit more, he's not able to get that ball into the dangerous area he does. And Ballard, yeah, he's focusing too much on stopping the player as opposed to attacking the ball and chasing and stopping the ball coming out. And yeah, I mean, he gets caught by that toe. It's a very soft goal to concede. I feel for Robin Roos, he doesn't deserve to have been picking the ball out of the net today. I thought he was spectacular in the first half again. I think he has hurt himself when he went down that bank behind the goal. But yeah, it's a tough one to take. But there's no way we can complain about that defeat. Fulham were by far and away the better team in the first half. I missed Lafay's chance right at the start of the second half because I was having a wee, but apparently that was something that he should have done better with. Then there's the one where what Ian was saying, where he tried to find Lafay and Lafay was in space, he doesn't get it to him, or he didn't even try and find Lafay. There was another one where the ball comes through to him and Lafay's just slightly in the wrong. He's got the weight on the wrong foot and he's turning the wrong way. These things go a different way. It's a very different game, but this is the way it is, isn't it? I completely agree with the idea that we're not attacking enough. We're not enough of a threat, and we give perhaps too much respect to these teams. That yes, at the start of the season, we would have, and honestly, if you give it to us now, I would still take 17th. But we would have taken that. I think, considering what the club wants to do and what we heard from Kirill saying he wants to do, that top 10 is where they're aiming, and they perhaps even want to look further than that. Have to do better in these games, and you can't sit back off these teams the way they did. I thought it was I mean, it's killing us to say this. I thought it was the poorest performance we've seen from Granit Xhaka in a Sunderland top. However, I do have the fullest of confidence that Granit Xhaka will bounce back. I can't imagine he's particularly happy tonight. I didn't see what happened at the end. What was that fracas all about? Do you know?
I don't know exactly what it was, but I don't know the name, so forgive me. I'm sure Ian will correct me on it because he put it in. I was like, "Who's that?" I think it's one of our assistant manager, Ian. Correct me if
One of
I'm
the
wrong.
assistant coaches, Medea, I want to say. It looked. That was going off the initials on his jacket. So I'm just trying to go back through the chat to see. Medea, yeah, I think he's the guy that we got who'd been with Barcelona and Enrique and stuff. It was him, and I think it was Harry Wilson. We're getting into it a little bit, or someone. I don't know.
I think it all stems.
Irrelevant.
I think, to be fair, we're going to get on the next topic of discussion because I think we've been quite fair to say that we probably didn't deserve anything. A point at a push if we defended across. Overall, Fulham had the better of the play. But I do think a lot of the frustration came at the end from the coaches due to the fact that he'd booked two Fulham players for time wasting, which, within the right, we've all been there. 1-0 lead at home, you're wanting to hold on. But then he only played an extra 30 seconds of stoppage time, which was one of many, if I'm going to be honest, dubious decisions by the referee today. I don't want to come across like I'm sour because we got beat, but I genuinely believe we were back in League One. Like, it was so inconsistent. The one that really sticks out is the foul that wasn't given on Wilson Isidore in the first half. I don't think Wilson did much, and when he did have a job to do, he didn't really do it well today. But the one time he got on the other side of his man, he was quite clearly pushed, and nothing was given. The ball then goes up the other end, and I think it was Mukulele hardly touched his man. He fell over, and the referee couldn't wait to have his whistle in his mouth and giving it. And I just felt like it was today. It was one of them performances by a referee where, at the end, I was genuinely not surprised at anything he did because it was just the amount of soft fouls he gave. To be honest, if he refereed the Arsenal game, we probably would have finished 9-9 because the amount of there wasn't much physicality in the game today, I don't think, and I think that's kind of what helped Fulham because they nullified our physicality very well and they didn't let us get on top of them that way. But yeah, what did you make the referee? Do you agree with my League One stance, or is it going a bit too far?
Being kind. Being kind. I mean, at one point he stopped play because a Fulham player headed the ball. Like that, I know Jimenez has had a bad head injury in the past, but he's headed the ball with the top of his head, and then the referee stopped play because of it, and then he stopped the play getting restarted, or he stopped play because one of our lads was tying his boots or something. I don't know. It was just poor all round. It's just, I know they talk about VAR and stuff being it helping referees, but that they're not getting the little decisions right either. Like there's the big decisions that you can get help with, but the stuff like that, like he invented a foul. We were attacking, and he gave a foul against us, and then they scored from that free kick. It obviously comes, and there's a lot of things happen between the ball leaving the lad's foot. Like Hume didn't get out to the lad quick enough, and Ballard, like we said before, he's just more concerned with the man than the ball. But if he attacks it, it stops it going in. But I just think the referee was just so weak. And that's you probably nail on the head, and that's why the coach and staff's been agitated and up at it at the end. But it was just shit. Like he's a Premier League referee, and it was like being away at Lincoln. It was fucking rubbish.
No, you're right there, and I think you when you touch on VAR, you make a good point. I think it's pretty much common consensus between all Premier League fans since VARs came in. It's made referees worse because they don't feel like they're in charge. They don't feel like they have to make decisions. So when they do have to make decisions, they're not used to making the decisions. And 9 times out of 10, they're guessing. Like the amount of times this season at the Stadium Light, I've seen the referee just stare at the linesman, even though he's 5 yards away at it, and the linesman's 20 yards the other side. And it's like he's waiting for someone to help him all the time. Like, don't get me wrong, we've benefited from that sometimes this season already. But yeah, it just really irked me today. It was like we were doing well. We get that, but for a fair game, you just want a referee to be a bit more consistent and, as you say, just not be shit. I think that's a very good way of putting it.
I mean, to be fair, the referee was consistent in that he was consistently shit, but that's all I've got to say about him being consistent. But the little decisions, like if it's an offside that they can miss, I understand that. But if it's a goal that goes in from a throw-in that shouldn't be a throw-in, or a corner that shouldn't be a corner, like that should be looked at as well for me. And I know it slows the game down more, and that's not what we want. We want games to like flow. Like the Arsenal game was so physical, but the ref let loads of stuff go, and it was class to watch. Like Bedlington Terriers have just played Man City, and that was quite a physical game, and the referee let loads go. But I don't know, man. I despair with refereeing.
No, I totally get it. We'll try not to speak about them much. So I know it's a bit of a negative result, but a bit of positive. We like to keep ourselves positive with, like you see, a bit of perspective of how well we've done, Pete. If we'd swapped the Fulham draw for an Arsenal defeat, we'd be sitting here quite chirpy still, wouldn't we?
Never thought about it that way. Yeah, absolutely. I will touch on one more negative, which is, and I'm sure it's in Labry's mind as well, I haven't won in a while. Bournemouth is not going to be an easy one. He has to do something to turn that around. But what I will say that we haven't had this season, what I was really worried might come. And that's the like absolutely played off the park, beaten 4-0 by 50 minutes, and we look off the pace for the Premier League. Don't think we look off the pace for the Premier League. Today, I think, it's probably because it's fresh in my mind, that this was the poorest performance I've seen from Sunderland this season. I fully expect that that is taken on board by those coaching staff after they calm down a little bit, little Rajis that they are. And they'll be looking to bounce back, and as much bounce back better, I guess. And as much as I said I didn't think Xhaka was particularly Xhaka today, I'm sure he'll be back bright and breezy. I remember the thing that he was saying for his the interview that was with his wife, I think, beforehand, saying, when he loses games, he comes home and it affects him so much, and it has such an impact on him as a person, not just as a professional sports person. But I fully expect him to bounce back. It is disappointing, but we have to remember, I think we were all expecting a lot worse from this Premier League season. They've performed way above and beyond what we were expecting. And even after 3 games without a win, even though the Arsenal game was wonderful for the way they came back and the fight that they showed against, which is a very, very good side, still in 6th position and still look like a Premier League side. And that's what I want them to be. I want someone to be in the Premier League and look like they are proper, nailed on, experienced and cemented Premier League side, and they're starting to look like that. Obviously, that comes by staying in the Premier League and being in the Premier League for years, but they look like they can do it. And that's the only hope that I'll take away from this, that if that's the worst day at the office they're going to have, right, let's take it and move on.
Definitely, definitely. I think what's been shown so far is we're going to come up against teams who've got great international players. But if you have an off day, especially away from home, you look at the games we've lost. Burnley, I think, is the only one you can probably put an asterisk against because it was so fresh. It was probably the worst time to play at Burnley. It was basically an extended championship game with both teams having a brand new squad. And again, that I'd argue that's probably the one where we've created the best chances away from home so far. So it flips on its head that way. But yeah, I feel like if we have an off day, especially away from home, you're going to get punished. Man United have shown that. Fulham have shown that today without being spectacular. They were solid and they were creating a lot of chances. And again, another shout out to Roos because I mentioned it earlier. I thought first half, some of the saves he pulled off were really solid and good. Again, it's saves that I kind of expect him to make as a top keeper. But we've been here before in the Premier League where them saves haven't been made. And Kelvin Davis. Sorry, Kelvin. And also, we've heard in the international break, Lee Camp do a wonderful interview where even he admitted he was shit. If you haven't heard it, please listen out for it. Going back now to, you mentioned the Bournemouth game next week, Pete, but I'll hide this one to Ian. 5 at the back is one of the big things. You know, listeners' questions are going to be about 5 at the back. All the discourse on the forums, on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. It feels like today was the time where you go, right, that's enough. Okay for the big games away from home and against the top sides with little internationals, but against the sides who are there or thereabouts around us, especially at home, we've got to go back to our bread and butter 4-3-3, don't we?
I think so. Yeah, 4-3-3, 4-4-2 our possession, and I've one of them push up to press with the striker, which you'd probably think would be Siddiqui, given that he can just run and run and run and run and run. Yeah, Bournemouth's a tricky one because I know they went 2-0 down at home to West Ham today, but obviously pulled it back. So Semenyo's a bit of a worry. So I'd be tempted probably to take Hume out. He's not been at his best today, to be fair. I think if we get Mookie early at right back and then get Alderete back in alongside Ballard, got the balance with the left-footed centre half there. Ronaldo can stay in for me. He made a cracking block today just before they scored. But I think 4-3-3 is the way to go. The fives we just lose something. I wouldn't be against Getrauda being the the extra man in midfield, because I think he'd do a job there and would be good at sitting. Just get the ball, break up play, give it to Granit Xhaka, and then Siddiqui can be the one that pushes on a little bit further because he's got the legs to do it. But I'd probably hope we go to the 4 at home. Like you say, away from home, I can understand it. I think it just worked well against Man United when we were 2-0 down. And obviously it's worked against Chelsea. I think Lebris has probably just thought, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's just not happened today. Just one of those, isn't it? So
Yeah, do you feel the same, Pete?
Yeah, look, as I drop my phone, as I was saying, it's if that's the bad day at the office, and it was a bad day at the office, I think at the end of the season we'll take it. I would definitely think we need to, at home, go with that 4 at the back. I even think, unless it's, like we said, a Man City, a Liverpool, and teams we have coming up very, very shortly, I think they would need that 5 for the the extra security at the back. But yeah, we're not going forward quick enough with the 5 at the back. And we're not providing, and we were overran in midfield today, which is something I don't think a team, certainly not the team we've seen from Sunderland so far this season with Granit Xhaka and Noah Siddiqui, that would ever allow that to happen. But they were able to do it today. Whether it's because, they have played those international games, the travel that comes with it and everything that comes with the roles that they play for their various international teams. Siddiqui's crucial in midfield for Congo, and obviously Xhaka is Mr. Switzerland. So he has an awful lot to do there in the role as the captain he plays as well. I'm happy to put it down to that. I don't think we can. We can't. This isn't the end of the world. You're going to lose games of football, especially in the Premier League. And as I've said before, I was quite worried that somewhere down this, and I'm still worried. I'll be worried until the last day of the season that there is a absolute 4-0 spanking somewhere in our season this year. Doesn't seem like it's coming so far. And if that's the way that they're going to get beat, obviously, look, Man United was Man United away, and Burnley was disappointing as well. But yeah, I think if they're going to, if I'm still no less confident in the abilities of Reggie. I'm still no less confident in the abilities of this squad at all. I'm a little concerned that they're, like we were talking about Isidore earlier, and we love Wilson. I adore Wilson. He wasn't wonderful today. It was a foul on him for the push, but apart from that, he didn't do an awful lot. I think if we'd had somebody, if we'd had the Wilson Isidore that we know that he can be, he would have been able to. I didn't see him once provide that wonderful run that he can do, and he's being found with release balls from the centre halves in the past, where he's on that last defender and he's able to find that bit of space, get that bit of space if they push up, especially when they were attacking, because they were going for a second at the end, and I was really hoping that would catch them out. So, yeah, bad day at the office. We'll move on from there, but it's not the end of the world.
You do make a good point there, Isidore, because I think that's another murmuring that other than he's tapped in from the long throw at Chelsea, he hasn't scored in open play as such since Aston Villa at home, which is a bit of a while for a striker who's got a few goals. Is it time maybe for a Broby on my end to get a run? And we know how good Isidore is off the bench. He's proved that this season because he's got the pace to run at tired legs. He can also play on the left or through the centre. Broby's looked really a real handful. And what I like about Broby so well is, especially if we go to the 4, he brings players in the game so much. And I feel like for us to attack and get in better areas, having that focal point who can bring the midfielders, bring the wingers in a bit more, especially with Lafay on the left, would probably help us. I think that's one I'd go for personally. So we did ask listeners questions a bit late, would admittedly say. Graham won't mind me leaving this in here. We've got a few. So first one for you, Ian, from Jack Snowden. Poor today, like passing reminds me of Everton at home, slow, not controlled. My question is, what on earth possessed Reggie to play a back 5 away? We've covered a lot of it, but he does mention a lot about the passing being off. That was something, especially first off, wasn't it?
yeah, it just wasn't quick. It was just slow, just sort of going back and round in circles. Passing, it was like the first half an hour against Everton for a lot of it because they did have us without creating massive chances. It they were just a little bit sharper at the ball, like the first one where the hilariously named Kevin went through on goal and the keeper saved it. It was just they'd got there just in front of Ballard, who dived in to try and get it. So I mean, five at the back. Oh, five at the back away, it works. We've proved it works. We won the last away game we had. We won playing five at the back, didn't we? Was Chelsea the last away game before today?
Yeah, it was, because we had them.
So we won. So I mean, we can't say it can't work, but it's situational, and you've got to be able to sort of change things. One thing that did worry me is we conceded a goal after 83 minutes, and it was still another 5 minutes before we got the subs on.
Yeah.
Before any, I thought that's a bit strange. Like get Broby. I know Broby didn't come on then. It was Mayenda came on after Dingra and someone else. I can't remember who came on, but it was just like it was 5 or 6 minutes later, and I was thinking this should have been done. They should have been off the bench the second that ball at the back of the net, ready to go, and that was a bit of a concern because I know there's been talk of him and his substitutions. He likes them after an hour, and I thought he would have had a bit more about him, be a bit more urgent in getting them out. But
yeah, no, I agree on that today. But again, I think we'd also caveat is his subs against Arsenal basically got us a point, didn't he? Changed the game. So again, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I think today just one of them where we just got wrong. We just got it wrong, and I think it's okay to say that sometimes in the Premier League where the players are learning, and so is the management. You'll get things really right at times where we go genius, and then sometimes you might just misjudge a situation, which I think you probably did today. But you say not changing it, we thought earlier, etc. Next one for you, which I think was quite funny, and I totally in agreement with this. Pete, should the third kit be retired?
Looks really pretty, but we don't play well in it. So, no is my answer because, as I said earlier on, I do have that confidence in Reggie to get it right. I do have the confidence in the players to get it right. Don't think the colour of kit that they're playing really matters, but it's the type of thing that is playing on my mind. And as soon as the final whistle went, I went, is that they've not done anything in that kit, have they, at all? So, I'm going to say no for now, but ask me again in March.
Because we did have a bit of an issue with the third kit last season as well, didn't I? I'm sure we only beat Hull away.
Yes.
Maybe we should just stop selling third kits because that's the way it used to be, and third kits were brought in just to make more money. It's a lush kit. I have bought it, so I can't really, I can't be a hypocrite here. But yeah, maybe.
I'm a massive hypocrite, but I've not bought this one, so I mean, the blue one's lovely.
Yeah, playing the blue one, you know what I mean? And one thing I've got to say is the reason we couldn't play in our blue one today was because for the first time in the Premier League, Fulham have decided to wear white shorts instead of black shorts. So they're all white.
Was that the reason why?
Yeah, because you can't be in the same colour shorts.
Never.
Disgusting if you ask me.
Disgraceful. Get the game done away with.
Chris also did make a funny point. Also, does Enzo's in his leggings lose his edge? I did notice the leggings. He lost a few hard as nails points there.
Can't be wearing tights. Even if I do think Enzo is hard as nails, he can't be wearing tights.
He can do what he wants. I thought he looked class. I was like that. He looks like a player. Looks like he means business in tights. I'd wear tights for Enzo.
I'll take the next question. So John Ridley said, do you think we struggle in the games we should be looking to get points? I'd argue we'll do well against City and Liverpool as we seem massively up for them games. Yeah, it is a point, isn't it? Because other than Man United, you look at where we've dropped points, it's against teams where we'd probably be expecting to challenge for all three. Like you say, the two-way games we've lost, Burnley and Fulham. You probably would be when you look at the rest of our results going, oh, Sunderland should get something from them games. So I don't think it's as such where we struggle. It's maybe where we overcomplicate things, where we stick to what we do. Because at home, we have got points against the teams around us and the teams where we should, everyone said in inverted commas, well, you should be beating them. So I don't think it's a case of we'll struggle against them. I think it's just away from home, it's Reggie's and the team not knowing whether to stick or twist, whereas at home, we'll always twist and go for it because we've got the crowd behind us, and I think that does play a big part as well. But yeah, I certainly don't think we'll be expansive away to City and Liverpool either, so it's very hard to compare the two. But I do get what John's saying is it's when you look at the results, you're a bit like, Chelsea away, 1, Fulham way lost. Just them little things. But yeah, I don't think we struggle as such. I think it's just circumstantial and on a game by game basis. And I'll hide this to both of you as the last one from Rob Davison. He said, "We didn't deserve anything out of the day, never got going," which I think we've all agreed was the common consensus. How important is the next game at home to Bournemouth to set the tone for the big three that come after that?
I'll have a go at that one. Oh,
Pete?
okay. Okay, I'll have a
Pete,
go
go
at
on,
that
Pete.
one. I would say that Bournemouth game isn't the be all and end all of the season. It's far too early to say that. However, a win there would be massive. Just reset, get the confidence back. Not that I don't think these players. I keep saying it. I've got full confidence in them, including I believe they believe in themselves in the group, and certainly what we're hearing coming out from. It's a brilliant article by James Copley talking about the mood in the camp and behind the scenes and everything like that. So a loss at Bournemouth, a loss against Bournemouth would be bad. A draw against Bournemouth is a point in the Premier League, which we'll take. A win, I just think, gets us back on track after a bit of a lull, after a bit of a malaise of not having. I mean, okay, the draw against Arsenal felt like a win, and I was buzzing still by the time the game kicked off. However, that's gone now, and they can't keep relying on the fact that, yes, we do score some amazing late goals. The first half performance today wasn't good enough at all. They need to be better against Bournemouth, and I have full confidence, as I say, that they'll try and sort out whatever they can on a training pitch. But the confidence I've said confidence an awful lot, haven't I? The confidence that would give the club and the fan base as well, of anybody who's already, because we are quite a pessimistic bunch at times, that are thinking, oh, it's all doom and gloom and it's all gone to shit. It hasn't. It's football. It's a long old season. It's the Premier League. It's one of the toughest, if not the toughest league in the world. There will be losses in a season. Dust yourself off, move on. If we lose against Bournemouth, it's not the end of the world. It isn't good though. A win just means so much for me, I think, again, in that game against Bournemouth.
No, I totally agree with you. I feel like it's one of them where everyone gets a bit level headed. You just take a game at a time, don't you? One game at a time. Bournemouth have done really well, but again today they were 2-0 down to West Ham, which proves they aren't untouchable. They've got a few injury problems themselves, I believe. I've seen on my fantasy team there was quite a few reds on the two Bournemouth players that I had in there, so I took them out just to be safe, as you do. But yeah, and again, flipping it over, you're seeing everybody beat everybody in the Premier League this season. It's wide open. It's so condensed in that area. From I think it's 4th to 12th. I think there's 3 points in it. So it's hard at the minute. Just don't look at positions, I think, and look at the points on the board where we are in this many games, and then compare that to the bottom three. Because this season, as much as Kirill's on about top 10, I know that's got to be the aim. That is the club's aim, and it's brilliant. That's the club's aim. But for season one, if you spoke to us before the West Ham game and we said you're on 19 points, you're 1 point away from the halfway mark of the lovely 4-0, you would have took it, especially with the fixtures we've had. So I think actually that's a nice way to leave it. Sorry, Ian, I was going to ask you another question, but I think I've done a great, and I'm taking control as the host to say that is a good way to end it.
Fine, mate. That's fine. I mean, all I was going to say is a bit of perspective. It is a massive, massive game against Bournemouth, but they all are now. But we're sixth in the league.
Yeah,
And no one expected us to be here.
definitely. And when you compare today, I know they've had some tough fixtures, but Burnley again are in the bottom three. Leeds are in the bottom three. That they're our two competitors who we came up with. So again, I'm sure if you asked their fans if they would have took a 1-0 defeat to Fulham today to be in our position, they 100% would. I believe that, especially when you see Leeds fans discourse over the manager. We've got I think a lot of us have full faith in the manager, even if he didn't get it right today, because he gets it right a lot more times than he gets it wrong. I think that's a way to look at it, and bring on a packed stadium of light once again. Our last 3 o'clock kick-off on a Saturday for a long time at home, I think. I think it's about
for a while. I can't think how many. Isn't that Liverpool game on a Wednesday?
Yeah, we're away. We're away to Liverpool on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's like I was looking at the things. That's a strange one. Yeah, it's not the, as I keep saying, it's not the end of the world. I'm fairly confident that Reggie's still the man to do it, and that these are the players to do it. And absolutely, it's just a blip, just a blip.
We're going to lose games of football in the Premier League, and especially away from home, these things happen. On to the next one, back at home at Bournemouth, and let's get back on track.
Oh yeah, be grand, man. It'll all be right. It'll all work out.